I just found out something I probably shouldn't have about what happened in Washington, D.C., and someone needs to explain it. So the shooter was identified as an Afghan national who worked with the CIA, as if that's not suspicious.
Yo, welcome back to the Red or Blue Pill channel, people, where we go through creepy TikToks that will make you question reality. Don't forget, sub up, turn on notifications, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and give us a hype, because apparently that helps. But with that being said, let's run. Scientists find evidence of alien DNA in humans. So these alien hybrids that are being abducted, these people are potentially telling the truth then? Is that what we're saying? What's what the mirror is saying?
Walt Disney just froze himself, said, wake him up in the future. Walt Disney right now, and you know it worked because they froze the baby 30 years ago. They just woke that baby up now. And that baby is a regular fucking, how you think I'm playing? Nigga, they woke a baby up from 30 years ago right fucking now. So this shit worked. You think I'm playing? He think I'm playing. Yeah, look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. They woke a baby up. They froze a baby 30 years ago and they woke him up now. Right? Super baby. That's super baby. The baby is 30 years old, but it's born at the same time. Stop playing on me.
Oh, they say he was born in 1994. He froze for over 31 years.
There you go.
And he just came out in July 2025.
You think I'm playing?
In Ohio.
In Ohio, right? And that's crazy. How can they do that? And he's still a baby now. But you know what I said? This is what I said. I said he might have Benjamin Button disease. As he get older, he's going to be turning older. Like when he's 30, he's going to be 60, right? And I think it's going to catch up with him. That's what I think. But if it don't, then everything got to be a trick.
Because he use his body. How the fuck you?
It got to be a trick, right? So how can you freeze something and then make it come alive 30 years later and it's the same age, right? Time can't be real. Age can't be real. Death can't be real. They say put in front of our face that nothing is fucking real.
The world's...
Yeah. I had to get some more information on this. So let's have a look. A rational way of trying to get this information, because that is bonkers.
Ever baby has just been born in the US. Thaddeus Daniel Pierce was created from an embryo frozen more than 30 years ago. According to a report by MIT Technology Review, this modern marvel came from an embryo, a fertilized egg, held in a storage tank since 1994. It was eventually adopted by parents Lindsay and Tim Pierce and then transferred into Lindsay's uterus in November 24. And in July 25, Thaddeus was born. His adopted dad, Tim, was just a toddler when the embryo was created. And there's another quirk to this story. It all came about because the biological mother and the adopting parent were linked up by a Christian embryo adoption agency. So here's how it happened. According to Technology Review, the baby's biological mother and father went through IVF treatment in the 1990s. They created 4 healthy embryos, but the mother, Linda, had just one of them transferred, who became the now 30-year-old sister of Thaddeus. Whoa. The other 3 were frozen in the hopes of having another baby. But things changed. Linda got divorced, and once she reached the menopause, it was time to reassess. In the end, she opted for embryo adoption, which gave her a say over the parents that would take on the embryo, overseen by an explicitly religious agency. Nightlight Christian Adoptions took on the embryos and placed them with Lindsay and Tim Pierce. They fitted the criteria of a married, Caucasian, Christian couple and went on to have Thaddeus, giving him a biblical name. This is not the first time a baby has been born from decades-old embryos. Other cases have also been taken on by other Christian agencies seeking to reduce the number of embryos held in storage for a very long time, thought to be in the millions, although some on the Christian right argue against IVF altogether. But from the moment Thaddeus was born, he became the new world record holder.
What's that?
Oh. Yeah, so it's not quite like Demolition Man there, but that doesn't say that they can't do Demolition. I think Demolition Man will be a thing, and I'm pretty sure Walt Disney was frozen, right? I think it is a conspiracy, but there's like, talks about he potentially has frozen himself. And I think there is probably experiments or the ability to do it somewhere deep underground or deep in, the deep experiments that go on, because you know there's some crazy stuff going on somewhere in the world. if we can clone people, then I'm pretty sure we would be able to freeze people and bring them back when they can come back to life whenever they want, and probably be the same sort of age.
Did contacts that can now see things that the naked eye can't see, as well as see in the dark? Tell me more. Yeah, what's happening is they're putting the contacts in and they're seeing weird creatures that they can't see with the naked eye, which is freaking them out. So they don't know if they want to release them yet until they can just only see in the dark. That's awesome. The testers of these contacts said that they saw creatures that looked dark and had glowing eyes as well as long fingers. Okay. The tester said that they could actually see super well in the dark, but what was strange is they could close their eyes and still see through their eyelids, even in the dark. Many of them had to stop testing them because of the things they were seeing and how creeped out they got. One of them also said that one of these dark creatures leaped forward at them and went through their body, they said. I like that. NBC actually has a video.
That's crazy. So, what they called the eye things, so you can see basically the invisible. Is that actually legit? Because if that's true, that is crazy. You can put contact lenses in your eyes so you can see ghosts. That's crazy. Maybe that is how you see that go into the 5D is with technology. It's probably going to allow you to see a lot more, right? Very advanced right now.
It's never been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now. And so it's important to note that in a free and fair society, how could you operate or have an agency operating in the shadows? And so kudos to President Trump, also Director Radcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard for pushing for this transparency. It is going to be generational changing that they've done this. And we hope to bring forward legislation to ensure that this never happens again for future generations to come.
You're saying NBC has been keeping this tape of Oswald under wraps?
Correct. In fact, Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC has been very, very much so guarding this tape. And so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape. And I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy.
Whoa, that is crazy, peeps. I knew they weren't real. That's a spy pigeon, y'all.
This one's going to get a little weird. So I'm just going to start this by saying this is for entertainment value only and holds no educational value whatsoever. It's just, for fun. Check this out. This came out back in August. A new life form found hiding inside the human body. They're calling them obelisks. It was actually discovered last year, but they had no idea what it was.
Microscopic organism has been found in the human gut. These newly discovered organisms are called obelisks, and they are made up of tiny rings of genetic material. Obelisks can create their own proteins that are entirely new to science. The team named their proteins oblins. Scientists are still figuring out what proteins do.
Now, they still don't know exactly what this is, but they're saying it's a virus-like life form that exists inside our mouth and our guts. And what's really interesting is these life forms are made up of tiny bits of RNA. Now, if you don't know exactly what RNA is, it's a little hard to explain, but it's basically the messenger for DNA to help control the synthesis of proteins. But for this video, we're paying attention to the fact that RNA is basically the DNA for viruses. Matter of fact, RNA is actually the source of a lot of different viruses. Here's a partial list for you. And if you're like me, you'll notice some of these have a common denominator between them. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, here's your hint. But anyway, RNA has actually been used for a lot of different things here recently. One being the evolution of certain medicines. Well, what's really interesting about that is that the programmable and self-assembling properties of the RNA is actually being used to create nanobots. I don't know about you, but that sure does make some of those crazy conspiracies not look so crazy after all. Especially since now we have life forms living inside of us that nobody knows what they are. Y'all stay safe.
Sounds very ominous.
There we go. We said it was going to happen. The government have now confirmed it. Pay per mile is coming. It's been confirmed. So the government is saying by 2028, pay per mile will apply to electric vehicles for 3 pence per mile and 1.5 pence per mile for plug-in hybrid vehicles. I can't help but feel that they're going to bring this date forward from 2028. I could be wrong. Just have this feeling. Oh, and these rates of 3 pence and 1.5 pence, these are going to increase every single year in line with inflation. And as for combustion engines, petrol and diesel, who else reckons that they're somehow also, in the future, going to be included in pay per mile in some way, shape or form? Or you'll be punished, penalised for driving these engines in 2028, trying to force you on to electric vehicles. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out in the future. And yes, this is a brand new account. Please follow it. For fuck's sake.
Going on top of.
Yeah. So is this the agenda for you'll own nothing and be happy? Maybe because you are going to have self-driving cars that you've just got to rent off the people that own them, which will all be centralized, no doubt, under one group. And the farmers are back, people. They're not happy in the UK. They are not happy.
Tractor in front of the horse guards, all the way to Big Ben. Tractors are parked up. They're still pouring in the back, and they just keep on coming. Thousands of tractors here. Back British farmers.
Shit is getting very weird, and I've been having some very interesting experiences, and I've been wanting to share this one for some time now. A couple of weeks ago, I went and got gas. I know what I'm doing. I put my pump into the gas tank. I'm sitting there pumping gas. I do the whole thing. And then it asks if I want a receipt. I even remember how much it was. It was like a little over $40. I said, no, I don't want the receipt. Okay. And I carried on. Whenever I got home, I looked at my gas gauge and my gas gauge hadn't moved. So I thought, okay, maybe my gas gauge is broken. So then I look at my transaction, my bank statement. There is no transaction on my bank statement. I am not a dumbass. I know I sat there and I got gas. There is something so weird going on, just like the other day whenever I went to sleep. I know I took my earrings out before I went to sleep. I woke up with my earrings on. There is definitely some kind of like timeline wars that's going on. We are shifting. There is a lot of weird things going on. And no, I'm not crazy. Maybe I am a little bit crazy and I wouldn't have it any other way, but I am aware. I am aware of what is going on and it's getting really fucking weird. And I encourage you to really pay attention. When you lose something, maybe it fell off into another dimension. You don't know. Who knows, right? How many times have you lost something and then you went and looked at the place that it actually was? Like it wasn't there. And then you went and looked again and then it was there. Think about it. Be mindful, be vigilant, pay attention. Shit's getting so interesting and it's getting so weird, just like these Mandela effects. What are these Mandela effects? Pay attention.
That's crazy. Went to fill up your petrol they get home and there's no petrol and there's no sign that you ever did it. That would be you would have to be like, whoa. I'd be going to go check the CCTV cameras to see if you could see yourself. That is some weird stuff. I'd be doing a lot more investigating. That's for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world at the moment, peeps. Let me know if there's any strange stuff going on with you lot.
Always another day, and you don't have to hide away.
Here they are.
You'll be a mine boy, but for now it's time to run. It's time to run.
Mm.
Run, boy, run. This fight is a journey to run, boy, run. The secret inside of you, run, boy.
No, I don't know who that is. Man who shot 2 guards near the White House worked for the CIA in Afghanistan. These 3-letter agencies, man.
We'll fight them on the farm. We'll fight them in the towns. We'll get like the French and down with Starmer.
We don't want to cause trouble, but then, do we follow the French mentality and start spreading muck around this place?
If they don't listen, we could become more like the French farmers. It wouldn't be through choice, it'd be because we were pushed that way.
We're getting more and more people coming into the country, and we got to feed them, but where's the food going to come from?
Yes, disrupt to make people listen. But I don't think that we would do anything illegal.
My dad's obviously the 4th generation, and he won't be able to pass the farm down to me or my brother.
My advice to the government is to get some bread and cheese stocked up, because this is going to be a long winter.
In what way? What do you think?
In terms of they're going to go hungry.
Why?
Well, we can just close the gates.
What happens when there's no food? There's only 6 days food left in the country. So if we all went to war tomorrow, we'd have 6 days food. That's it.
If we just carry on saying, well, we're not going to give you any food, then they'll soon have to do something about it, because we're not going to back down.
Mm. Oh, it's disgusting, that. It's just disgusting, peeps. Navy's doomsday plane vanishes over the Atlantic during mysterious mission. That does not sound good. Daily Mail again.
Holy shit. Did anybody hear about the US Navy's literal doomsday plane going off radar earlier today? I need everybody to save this video just in case it gets taken down again, which seems to be a pattern as of lately when I'm speaking upon very important things. Boeing E-6B Mercury, which is the type of plane that this doomsday plane is, vanished off radar after launching a secret transatlantic mission. Do keep in mind, this aircraft has a very specific responsibility, okay? Not only is it one of only 16 specialized doomsday planes, okay? But it is literally a last chance survivable command center for the president. Not just that, but also the Secretary of Defense and other very specific senior officials. The U.S. Air Force has one as well called the E-4B. It functions as a command and control center for the military's top leadership during a nuclear attack. It can not only withstand a nuclear blast electromagnetic pulse, but even if ground-based command centers were to be obliterated, it could still direct U.S. military forces from the sky. Flight Tracker identified 3 additional Mercury aircraft in the skies on Monday. Why the fuck are these very specific aircraft all of a sudden conducting these secretive missions and going dark? What the fuck is the U.S. military up to? Because I tried providing a lot of additional information on the previous video, but I guess they didn't like that part. If you look and notice, you might or might not notice a lot of operations underway.
Are you fed up paying too much for your food? Well, as a farmer, I'm fed up not getting paid enough for growing it. I've got a friend that would be happy if he received £250 a tonne for his potatoes this year. So I said, I'll help him sell them. You can come to my farm. They'll be loose in a box. Pick out which ones you want, put them in your own bags, and we'll weigh it at the end and only pay for what you've got. 25p a kilo is what I can sell these for. I live in Wisby St Mary, North Cambridgeshire, and my postcode is PE13 4UB, but it don't work very well. So look on my website for a what 3 words location. I'd like to start selling other farmers' produce as well. So any other farmers that want more money for what they're currently getting at the minute, you can drop me a box off. I'll try and sell your produce as well.
Well, it's just, that's how we need to do it, peeps. We just buy local. Stop going to these corporations that have everything, take all the money out of it, all the profits go to the rich. Instead, go local. Shop with the independent people and go direct. You'll save money and then they'll save money. It's a win-win situation. That is the way forward, peeps.
The future is here.
Whoa, what is that?
The future is right here.
You would not want to be going back to that house after a few beers at the pub, would you?
In front of your eyes. Oh my God, I couldn't be happier and more proud of what we have achieved. Wow.
What if UFOs aren't actually flying through space, but actually entering our dimensional plane, right? So think of a higher dimensional object casting a shadow into our dimensional plane and casting something kind of like this that we can't physically comprehend. It's like the brain theory, right? A branch of string theory, our entire universe could be a three-dimensional brain. Floating in a higher dimensional space, other brains could exist parallel to ours, much like here, each a separate universe with different physical properties that sometimes overlap. Now we're going to step in towards the crop circles, okay? Not all crop circles are real, but there are some which are definitely strange, and most crop circles, the authentic ones, you can actually create three-dimensional objects or 4D objects from these shapes that are two-dimensional on our plane and create some very peculiar and interesting things. And a lot of these objects are actually blueprints and represent some stuff that we know about in quantum physics and beyond. And it really does make you scratch your head. Are these, for instance, some sort of information that's being kind of manifested into our plane of existence that we can't quite physically comprehend? Which is from beyond. Now, string theory suggests there could be up to 10 or 11 dimensions, most of which are compactified, curled up so tightly that we don't directly experience them. They can overlap and interfere with our dimension, and we might see things manifesting in such strange ways. Although brain theory suggests like some of the objects could appear as a transient luminous object like we see here. A phenomena that appears and disappears without traveling any measurable distance here, so things that seem to teleport, and other morphing type objects that don't actually make any sense, okay? And a lot of the UFO phenomenon we see seem to change shapes that just don't really correlate with anything that we seem to know about or understand. Now imagine what a third dimensional object would look like to something on a two-dimensional plane, and it traveling through that 2D plane, it would look absolutely obscenely weird, much like what we experience with the UFO phenomenon. The 2D beings would see it morph, vanish, reappear, impossible moves, and instant acceleration, much like we experience. Now, if our universe is a 3D membrane floating in a higher dimension, maybe UFOs are intersections, a glimpse of something beyond the physics itself, something far beyond what we can physically comprehend, bro. A lot of these phenomena don't travel through space, they fold through reality. Maybe that's why they never land, because they were never really here in the first place, right? They're just kind of strange, transient existences that, you know, we kind of only catch a glimpse of one another ever so briefly. So maybe things on the other side of our dimensional plane see us in weird ways too. They kind of sit there and go, what the goddamn, man? I don't know. What do you guys think? You let me know down below.
I think he's onto something. I think he is, because that's what I was saying as well. Is, you know, the lights, the interdimensional stuff. I've always sort of come to the equation now that it's a 4D object which we're seeing 3D, which is all it means is that we're seeing shadows of the actual thing, which could just be something outside the dome. So let's say we live under the firmament and there's a object doing some sort of thing outside the dome, and it's just a shadow or a light of whatever it is coming down or whatever's going on up there. That's what I think it could be. I think he's right. I didn't think of the crop circles though. I didn't realize crop circles that could make that type of pattern. It's all very interesting, isn't it? Quantum time cycles. Oh, that sounds interesting too.
Scientists been playing with all type of shit. They've been playing with portals at CERN, and quantum physics. They just came up with this thing called time crystals. You hear about that?
Yeah.
So basically, the theory of relativity says that everything over time declines, right? So like imagine you have your room. You don't clean your room, what happens? It gets dirtier, right? Like everything in the universe tends to decline. And so what they found was they pulled out these like quantum particle beams in this crazy super cold conditions. And what they found was that these particles would out of nowhere spontaneously combust. And then, so they wouldn't just have that repeating pattern over space where like, oh, if it keeps not cleaning, it's going to keep getting dirtier. They'd have it over time. So they get stuck in this state where they would just sit there and then they would break and come back together and break and come back together, and they get stuck on a loop doing that. But they weren't consuming any energy to do it. So imagine it's like you're your room gets extremely dirty and then cleans itself, and extremely dirty and then cleans itself, and it gets stuck in that loop, but no one's actually doing the cleaning. They found out that particles can get stuck in that state, and I think spiritually people can get stuck in that state.
100%.
Hey, I'm at Sam's Club.
That's crazy. So that's like the guy yesterday who was stuck on a loop going crazy because he was on a plane and it kept crashing and he was on the 6th loop on a plane crash. I mean, what you can't get any worse than that, can you? Cannot get any worse. This soup's really taken a big hit.
And look, pallets of 3D chicken soup.
3D chicken, yo.
And it's $12.98. So if you're in the market for all that chicken soup, 3D chicken soup from Campbell, y'all, it's right here waiting for you at Sam's Club.
You can keep
Y'all
it.
have a great day.
I just found out something I probably shouldn't have about what happened in Washington, D.C., and someone needs to explain it. So the shooter was identified as an Afghan national who worked with the CIA, as if that's not suspicious. But the crazy part, his name is Ramanullah Lakanwal. That was who was identified. So I typed that name into Google Trends, and I'm not understanding something here. So I typed his name into Google Trends, and I set the filter 7 days and in Washington, D.C. So after the attack, his name it spiked in the search results. But you go to November 22nd, a few days before the attack, and his name was searched 12 times in Washington, D.C., which is just a bit strange. I'm not saying anything, Then I go to 30 days, and actually even on November 5th, it was searched 13 times, again, in Washington, D.C. Then I go to a year thinking like maybe there could be a lot of people named Ramanwal, man. And all the way in July, it was searched 27 times, again, in Washington, D.C., which is so strange. Then I thought, no, hold on. There might be a bunch of Ramanwals out there. So I go to the United States. In all of the U.S. in the past 12 months, 0 search results, other than in the last little bit. So I'm wondering what the odds are of this. Perhaps we should ask ChatGPT. I guess the only explanation for this is maybe that he searched his own name. I could see that being the excuse. Like, oh, he was just searching his own name on Google, but still a bit strange. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow.
That is very suspicious, peeps. Very, 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 very suspicious. Especially on this channel.
This is normal. 2 objects, 3i Atlas and R2 Swan, both showing the same rare sunward-facing tail, both glowing green, both acting weird, and right now they're sitting on the opposite sides of Earth like a cosmic trap. R2 Swan didn't even get detected until perihelion. That's crazy. And then it suddenly brightens, breaks apart, and grows a tail that looks just like Atlas. Call them rocks. Yeah, they're just rocks if you want. But 2 rocks doing the same thing at the exact same time, perfectly aligned across Earth, that hits different.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let him in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
I'm recording this for proof right now.
How many times did he say stupid in that? But I mean, he could be right. A lot of people got let in and everybody was worried about that at that point. I covered it, a lot of it. People just walking into the country. Everybody's like, what is going on in America? And that could have been, if Donald Trump didn't get put into power, that could have carried on and there could have been some type of, civil war going on. I don't know. It might not have, but it's so hard to try and work it all out because we haven't got the full knowledge. We're seeing things in a 3D aspect and there's some 5D going on. I know it. But yeah, I don't know. I hope he's clearing up shop.
My car just literally started freaking. I'm at the turning light and I'm not clicking on my gas brakes or anything. And it started rolling by itself into a big towing truck. I'm jamming on my brakes. Nothing's happening. Nothing. It kept rolling by itself. You gotta do better, Elon Musk. Because I could have really fucking died. This could have been something really bad.
Once you start understanding quantum physics, you realize that everything is energy and nothing is separate. And then when you realize that they can measure your brain waves with a magnet that doesn't touch your head, you realize that your thoughts are not in your head. And they're part of this greater field that we are all connected by. And they're now trying to understand how we actually store memories, which is a developing process.
So you're saying there you can see our thoughts going into our head, which would mean that we're a video game. Somebody's given us information from outside our body. Whoa.
Some of it is protein based, and some of it is this theory that we basically store our thoughts in the cloud. So basically, you're accessing your own Wi-Fi field. And this is why there is a difference of like meeting somebody in person versus doing something over Zoom. Our biofields are interacting right now. There are low level frequencies that our brains interact on. So having that biofield, you realize that like you have your own biofield. You are your own Wi-Fi. You emit your own Wi-Fi. And so then thoughts can be the process of some of that Wi-Fi coming in, mostly directed as life force and energy, which is why like how you practice your energy and how you maintain your energy can really direct how your thoughts come out in your reaction.
You were both in Skull.
That's some crazy stuff. Whoa. That's blown my mind. Which reminds me, actually, I had a really weird dream. I was in a world and I was like watching it, but I was in a world with giants. Has anybody ever had a dream like that before? It was crazy. There was giants and then there was big giants. Really crazy. Just thought I'd share that with you.
Secret society. It's so secret we can't talk. What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go,
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
number 322.
I mean,
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
Tim Russert, moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
Whoa. Uh-oh. That don't look good. Who's that? I think it's German writing. Well, there's them energy fields. Look, peeps. The birds have got it too.
Did you hear Mr. Beast announced he's partnered now with the Rockefeller Foundation? And we got to talk about this for a second because, dude, you don't get on YouTube's trending tab every single day without making a deal, without making a serious deal. It's not random. Yes, you can grow a YouTube channel. Of course you can. But to get to that level of viewership, something needs to be signed. They don't let people have that much influence without making sure they have some control over them, if not total control. Now, we already found out that Mr. Beast is a part of that talent agency that also like owns Kai Cenat and a couple other super famous people that is connected to Disney, by the way. And remember when his top guy, Chris Tyson, turned to Ava Chris Tyson, and like people were wondering if that had to happen or was like made to happen, because we know 99% of his audience is children anyway. People wonder about that. It could just be nothing though. But my point is partnering with the Rockefeller Foundation. Last I checked, those are, that's kind of the club that we're not in. Central banking system, this whole thing. So now he's partnered with them. Holy Kreipenheimer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
I think his name's Mr. Beast, which is a big giveaway. And I also think, yeah, he's got a massive, massive audience, which are all kids. And over the next 10 years, them kids are going to be adults that will have a vote.
Reptilians do walk among us. Did you guys see Kate Beckinsale on the Jimmy Kimmel show saying that her daughter's boyfriend lays eggs? And she saw it, and she also showed them pictures that the crowd was not able to see. Now, a lot of people think she's joking or think it's some type of code word or code whatever, and it's something they do that's weird in Hollywood, maybe. But I found it interesting what she said about her daughter's boyfriend. Take a listen.
2 eggs in a week is what the bright spot was. Who did it? The boyfriend did. He's a Jew from New Jersey, and I thought possibly it was.
TikTok, I didn't call him a Jew from New Jersey. Kate Beckinsale did. She called him a Jew. She said he lays eggs. and she has proof of it. These reptiles walk among us. I think people just think we live in this world where the government tells us what we can see and believe, and that's it. That's all that exists. No. These reptilians walk among us, and I think a lot of you know that. Go back and you look at ancient statues, you see evidence of reptilians and these weird animal-human hybrid people. Mind you, the Nephilim did a lot of gene coding naturally when they were on Earth. Y'all don't think they're doing the same thing with the technology we have today? Y'all don't still think that they walk among us? Remember, the serpent was what? A reptilian. What they do is they put it in plain sight and they want us to think it's a joke. They desensitize us to it and all these different things. She's literally saying that her daughter's boyfriend is a reptilian right in front of our faces. And even if this is talking in code, what a weird way to talk in code. Holly weird, dude. Holly weird. Once again, TikTok, I did not call him a Jew. Kate Beckinsale did.
My name is Darius J. Wright, and for the purpose of people trying to understand that which I do is I have controlled out-of-body states. And essentially what this is where you are able to shut down your body to a certain state where your soul leaves. And when your soul leaves, it's the same thing as a near-death experience. And so I've been doing that for many years now, decades pretty much of controlled states. And when I realized that the other side, the eternal aspect of us, is our home, is there. It's not here, even though a lot of people would like to say this place is our home. It's not. None of us are from here. And when understanding that through accessing that and seeing that again, then this has turned into my life's mission and purpose to wake people up to that. Because once they wake up to who they are on all aspects of their true home, their true state, they wake up to everything. Because as soon as they remember that state again, then it's impossible not to realize and know again that you're not from here. This is what you experience now is not your true home. That's what people are longing for. They're longing for home. They're seeking home and they seek it here, but they're never going to really find it here because it doesn't exist here. Your home is where you were before you were born. And that's what you return to. And that's pretty much my mission, is telling people that the other side is your home. And it's
Yeah, but what if we're trapped here and we can't get out? And actually, when you die or when you have an out-of-body experience or when you have a near-death experience, the people you're seeing are actually the people that are trapping you. And you got to try and work out a way of getting around that. That's what I'm starting to think, because it's a shizzle world. It's run by shizzle people. And it's probably going to be no better on the next layer. You got to try and get around that. I agree. We all really are trying to get home, I think. We're all lost, trying to find our way. That's the direction I'm sort of going in. But I could be wrong. But I'm still going to be very skeptical when I go into that next phase. Still going to be looking around, and I won't be fooled.
Love.
Something's going on between these two, and I don't know what is it. Here's a little.
He needs you to do popular. You believe that? This is so great. That joy he wanted to use in every frame.
Like he shook the arm too hard and she had to like caress it. And then she was picking at the diamond necklace. And they've basically been all over each other.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the one of them on the red carpet where Ariana is doing an interview and she's fine? And Cynthia Erivo, she takes those long coffin nails, come in and she starts digging under Ariana's collar and very theatrically like moving the necklace around. And you see these interviews with them. And if I were conducting an interview like that, which I wouldn't be because it's not my trade anymore, but you know, I would say like, should I leave? I realize this is like a press tour for your movie, but like, it seems like you two would care to be alone. I'd like to leave. I'm uncomfortable.
Look how many people are talking about it though. I didn't realize there was a number 2 of that film until this all weird stuff started happening again. Now I know. And so do you. And so does so many other people, because we're talking about it. So they could just be acting very, very weird just to advertise the film. And it probably works, right? Because if you're looking at them like that, you're going to be like, let's go watch the film. Although I haven't watched any of them. But I can imagine the population would watch the film. So it could just be very good advertising, and they're just acting crazy for that reason.
Sound crazy, and I know it sounds crazy because it feels crazy to say. I woke up really early this morning, planned on going to the gym, and something told me to go back to sleep. And I had a series of dreams, but the last one, it wasn't a dream. I woke up in my apartment, and my parents were there. They looked really young, though, like younger than I remember seeing them. But there was a table full of people on the terrace, like eating. My parents were leaving, and they were about to go with my sister, and I felt like I was lost, like I didn't know what was going on. Some just told me to ask my parents because they looked so young. I said, "What year is it?" They said 2012, which made me feel like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but didn't look accurate. And so I went over to the people that were sitting at the table. There was a dog there, and I said something to the dog, and they looked at me like I called him the wrong name. And I was like, "Oh no, I just said, hey, boy, what's his name again?" And they told me his name was Hobbit. And then the boy took me in my bedroom and told me it was his bedroom. It was completely different. I said, "Who lives in the other bedroom?" He said, "His brother." And I knew for certain that I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't want to let anyone know because everyone was looking at me like I was supposed to know what was going on. And I was like, "Well, when did we meet again?" And he was like, "Christmas at your house." And I was like, "In Woodstock?" I just guessed because I was trying to figure out if I knew anything. And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, who brought you?" And he was like, "My dad." "What's your dad's name?" "Pat Brooks." I don't know who that is. But like, I asked him, how long had I been sleeping? Because apparently I had just waken up from a nap. And as I start to ask him questions, everything starts to fade. But like everything in me felt present. You know how you feel like dreams feel real? This didn't feel real. I knew that I was in a different something. And then I woke up. But the whole time I was like trying not to let everyone know that I didn't know what was happening. I even gave my mom a hug because I haven't seen her moving around in so long. And she was like stiff as a board. My mother is the most affectionate person I know. It just felt like a whole nother lifetime. Does that sound crazy? Does anybody know what that is? I don't know.
No, it's bonkers.
It's getting weird out here.
The inevitability of smart dust. So what is smart dust? Well, smart dust, of course, isn't a new concept. It's the originated with DARPA back in the 90s. And it's general purpose computing, sensors, wireless networking, all bundled up into millimeter scale sensor modes, drifting in the air currents, flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out. And you haven't really seen anything yet. So this is closer to the end of the vision. This is this powder-sized chip, and that's a salt crystal. So this is a small thing. It's something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world, and can be pulse powered by radio waves. It doesn't require a battery. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust, or embed this into a sheet of paper. And you know what the really interesting thing about this technology is? This was commercially released.
Have you all seen that girl who's supposedly a real-life mermaid?
She's blowing up on TikTok right now. Here's her account. She's doing literally everything she can to prove she's an actual mermaid. Every single one of her videos looks super weird and low-key creepy, but they're racking up millions of views. Some are already past 6 million. In one clip, she says she's out near Point Nemo, the most remote spot in the entire ocean, the place that's literally farther from any human than astronauts on the ISS are from land. In that video, she showed her scales, and I gotta be honest, it looked pretty damn convincing. In another one, she showed some weird patch of skin, but the scariest part came next. She posted a new video showing the mermaid scales again, ran her hand across them, and actual scales started peeling off like nothing. Underneath was this thick, real-looking skin. A ton of people still don't buy it and swear it's just a costume or editing, and they keep asking the obvious. How does a mermaid even have a phone to film all this? How did she make a TikTok account and upload videos from the middle of the ocean? So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not buying that one, peeps. I'm not buying that. You could see her fingers.